Hi, I'm Sam.
And I'm Max.
And this is Movie Nostalgia, where we give you an honest review of the movies we've meddled with oh so mischievously over at Maybe Movies. And this time, we are talking about The Frighteners, a 1995 film written and directed by Peter Jackson, featuring the talents of Michael J. Fox. Oh my goodness, everybody else's names.
Trini Alvarado.
Trini Alvarado, yeah, that's the one that was a hard one. Peter Dobson, John Astin, D. Wallace Stone, Jeffrey Combs in one of his seminal features, and Jake Busey, I think possibly one of his first starring roles.
I think so. I can't remember if this was after Starship Troopers.
Medic! I think it was before. I think Starship Troopers was 96.
Well, this was 96. This was 96. It was made in 95. It was released in July 96.
Yeah, but I think Starship Troopers was made in 96.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I see. Arlie Emery as well?
Of course, yes. Mustn't forget his wonderful performance as the cemetery guarding soldier.
Who apparently they'd written the character, not surprisingly, as a parody of the character that he plays in Full Metal Jacket.
Yes.
And they were going to cast, because the film was made quite obviously in New Zealand, they were going to cast somebody down there, but they just could not find anybody to do it well enough, so they asked the man himself.
And indeed, and as I understand, Arlie was one of those guys who was always willing to give it a go as long as people took him seriously.
Yeah.
Even small productions, he's done quite a few tiny movies, just because somebody asked him nicely.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, this is another one, a weird one. I'm not 100% sure. I know I definitely didn't see it at the cinema, which is a shame. It's in that kind of nebulous time when I was doing all. Where was I? So I think this was one that I saw actually. Yeah. So I was still here in Norwich at the time. That's when I was working at Sprowston Manor, and I think this was one that I saw probably about a year, maybe a year and a half after it came out, because I was sharing a house with a couple of chefs from work.
Right, I think you've mentioned this before, yes.
Yeah, and I think this was one of the ones that one my friend Paul found, or he'd heard about, because he was a big sort of horror fan as well. And I think this is one of the ones that he showed me, or he just sort of suggested it and we hired it. I think that's when I saw it. And again, really, really liked it when it first came out. And then kind of forgot about it until almost sort of 20 years later.
Really?
Yeah.
Right, okay. For myself, I am having a moment. I'm trying desperately to remember. Did I see this at the cinema? I think I did.
Nice.
I think I did. Because that is the thing. I wasn't early to the Peter Jackson scene, but I was in the Peter Jackson scene. Mm-hmm. I had definitely seen Bad Taste.
Aren't I lucky I got a janky bit?
I had definitely seen Brain Dead. Mm-hmm. I hadn't seen Meet the Feels because I haven't watched that yet.
No.
And I'm pretty sure this was his fourth film and his first Hollywood film.
So the film that he made before this was Beautiful Creatures, which I've not seen.
Oh, yes. I forgot that was one he made. Again, never seen that one.
Which apparently is how Danny Elfman got involved in this, because he really liked Beautiful Creatures.
Right.
And approached Peter Jackson and said, I'd really like to work on one of your movies. Don't care what it is.
Oh, lovely.
So I agreed to do this without even knowing what the project was about.
Oh, right. That's fantastic. I mean, because I know a tiny bit about Beautiful Creatures. It was based on a real-life incident.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, apparently. Based on. You know how they're based on.
Yes, of course.
True events.
I remember hearing the film, or hearing of the film, but I've never seen it.
I've never seen it myself.
I don't know anything about it.
It's just one of those, semi-factual films.
Okay.
But anyway, this was his first Hollywood production of his usual genre, which was in the dark and dangerous and sometimes quite silly and funny too. Away from the more dramatic feeling that you got from Heavenly Creatures.
Yes, but this is also definitely, as you say, a big departure from his early work, as he himself says in the introduction to the Blu-ray version, or more specifically, because this version has both the theatrical and the director's cut, and gives like a short presentation before the director's cut, saying that this was the movie that kind of, as you say, his first big budget, big studio movie.
Yes.
But more importantly, this is the stepping stone film to certain later works, because, as he points out in this, there's over like 5,000 CGI sequences in this film. And for that, the sort of special effects arm of Wingnut Films
Weta
had to
expand from one computer
to 30.
Indeed.
And in post-production, while they were putting everything together, Peter Jackson himself was having a bit of a mare, 'cause he's like, Christ, I've just paid for 30 computers. What the hell am I going to do with them? I don't know. I've kind of got a feeling I want to do something in fantasy.
Dun, dun, dun.
So yeah, basically, directly or indirectly, however you choose to look at it, the reason we got Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy is because of this film.
Well, I mean, Weta has, in recent decades, become kind of like a successor to production companies like ILM, which was originally attached to George Lucas. You know, it's the same sort of thing, innovation driving an industry forward. Weta now does multiple productions throughout Hollywood and other other
Fantastic.
other countries. So that's quite a good piece of news. It's quite important. Also, originally, this film wasn't meant to be a standalone Peter Jackson film. For those of you more familiar with the late 80s and mid-90s production of Tales from the Crypt,
Good help is so hard to find, isn't it, kiddies?
a fantastic TV show that delved into short-form horror storytelling. In the mid to late 90s, after the show itself had ended its run, they began producing a number of films, the first of which was one of my personal favourites, Demon Knight.
Oh, yes.
Hey, anybody home? Come on out, everybody! It's time to play! Hello!
In 1994, I think that came out.
I think so, yeah.
But originally, The Frighteners was scheduled to be one of the Tales from the Crypt presentations. I'm not entirely sure why it didn't end up becoming part of it. I think it was something to do with money.
No, apparently not. I think it was Robert Zemeckis liked the story so much he thought it deserved to stand on its own merit and not be bolted onto a series.
Well, you know what? That's fair enough, because it is that good.
Yes, absolutely.
Before we jump ahead to ourselves and telling the story.
Although it is a shame, because it meant we got Bordello of Blood as the sequel to Demon Knight, which was awful. It's just so awful.
Very, cheesy in the awful way.
Cheesy in the awful way, and it made a mockery of the lore set up in Demon Knight.
With
having the cross,
the key,
the key in there and everything, which you didn't need to do. That was they should have been self-contained, as the show used to be. Anyway,
although,
I digress.
Before we stop digressing, apparently that was kind of part of the plan, was that each of the films would feature the key.
Oh, really?
In some fashion.
Oh, that's a shame.
It was meant to be a shifting prop, throughout the series.
Yeah, I personally don't agree with that.
But they only did it with the two movies, so it doesn't matter. It never came to fruition.
But anyway, yes. So brief thing. So about this film, if you've never seen it, The Frighteners, shot and set in the early 90s in what is very clear. Well, it's filmed very clearly in New Zealand. I've always imagined that it's supposed to be somewhere like upstate west coast of America.
Yeah, the way the film presents itself, it is meant to be America, but you recognise New Zealand. But that's because we are fans of Peter Jackson, I think.
Yes.
Because he was the main New Zealand product at the time.
Yeah.
There are a few more now, Taika Waititi and people like that. And he tended to film in and around Wellington, which was his hometown.
Yeah.
And in fact, I'm pretty sure that is the main setting
of The
Frighteners.
But it still has that feel. Do you know what it reminds me of? That's why I say sort of West Coast America, like upstate, West Coast.
Like, San Francisco, Seattle region.
Further
the northeast region where you get a lot more rain and mist and stuff, yes.
Because it reminds me of the town from Goonies.
Yeah, Astoria, yeah.
Yes, yeah, it has that kind of feel to it. But anyway, so the story centres on Michael J. Fox's character, Frank Bannister, who is plying his trade as a psychic investigator in the small town of Westview, I think it's called.
Yes, I think it is the Westview, yes.
Yeah. But the thing is, Frank's got a certain extra bonus when it comes to investigating ghosts, in that he can see ghosts. And when one of the people he helps mysteriously turns up dead, it looks like there may be more at work in Westview than just him trying to con poor, unsuspecting bystanders. Xadrum is more than just curious content on YouTube. We're also a small publishing house, with books covering a range of genres from 1940s pulp adventure to children's novels, and even a touch of the macabre for those who like their literature on the dark side. Our titles are available in both paperback and ebook formats. Ebooks are available on Amazon, but physical copies can only be bought exclusively through our website at xadrum.com. Jeff's got enough cash as it is, so why not help us little guys grow and thrive? Links can be found in our banner and in the description to all of our videos, and we look forward to helping you indulge your itch for escapism. This is a fantastic film. I mean, it's weird. There's a few people I know and a few of my American friends, they've never heard of this.
Which is so weird, because it was quite a big deal when it came out.
Yeah, it was straight in at number 5 on its opening weekend.
Exactly.
But, unfortunately, it didn't do great.
No?
Made on a budget of $26 million, it only raked 29.3 worldwide.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe just because we're in England, we're more associated with Australia and New Zealand. Maybe we noticed it more than the Americans did?
Well, this was a couple of things. I did look this up. There seems to be a couple of reasons why it may not have done as well as it could have done. One of them is it came out in the cinemas at the same time that Independence Day was out.
Okay.
When it premiered basically on the same day as the opening ceremony of the Atlanta Summer Olympics.
Alright, it sounded like somebody didn't want this film to succeed. Because, I mean, straight away, Michael J. Fox. Mm-hmm. Before we get to anyone else, to all the genre classic peoples like Jeffrey Combs and people like that, we got Michael freaking J. Fox in 1995, when he was still in his prime, just post Back to the Future 3. It was only a couple of 3 years after that.
Yeah.
And he hadn't yet developed the unfortunate debilitation that Parkinson's brought to him. Mm-hmm. He was still, in his prime actor. Why was this not a bigger movie? Certainly for us in the UK, it was quite a big movie. I do remember it being a thing.
It does seem to have been a thing, like Universal didn't really kind of rate it, because, a couple of other things I saw. Originally, Peter Jackson wanted this released on a PG-13, and he just could not get them to sign off on it. They were adamant they were going to slap an R rating on it.
No.
Yeah. Apparently one of the things they complained...
There was nothing remotely R about this.
Apparently one of the things they even complained about, they said that a particular dog got shot with bullets too many times. It was just tripe. So what he ended up doing, because he was trying to appease them so much and take stuff out of it to try and appease the censors, and they wouldn't have it. So in the end, he actually made some of the death sequence a bit more gratuitous, because they're like, screw it, if you're going to give me an R rating, I might as well deserve it.
Well, yeah, well, no, if you're gonna be stuck with an R, go for an R,
Yeah.
But that is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. How dare you? I can't remember the name of the American rating authority. Who cares? That is ridiculous. This is a PG-13 film at its most basic.
I think the other thing that didn't do it any justice as well, which is why I'm so pleased I've got this version, is the theatrical cut does always make you feel, and this is probably why I didn't think any more about it, is the theatrical cut is just not that... It's not that it's not good, it's missing something, and you are painfully aware when you finish watching the film, it was okay, but it just doesn't feel complete, which is why the director's cut is fantastic. It's why I don't only ever now watch the director's cut, because it is the movie they should have released.
I don't feel precisely the same way that Max feels. I always felt there was something missing from the film. It didn't make me think that the original cut was incomplete, but I knew there were certain scenes when somebody would reference something or a certain thing was referenced, visually or whatever, and I'm like, that is clearly something that was set up before, but I haven't seen the setup.
Yeah.
So I knew something was missing from the film. So when I finally got to see the director's cut, the extended cut, whatever you want to call it, it made so much more sense. It fills in the tiny little details of the mythology that the film is living in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. As I say, the director's cut is the film that they should have released. If they had, it would have given the 90s their equivalent of both Ghostbusters and also, I'd say, also Beetlejuice as well.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
It would have been the 90s answer to both of those films.
Archaic,
And they're kind of
Over-energetic.
anarchic kind of, yes, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Oh, by the way, so we did forget one casting.
Oh, who's that?
The baby in the baby bouncer
Uh-huh.
was Peter Jackson's infant son.
Was it really?
Apparently, yeah.
I didn't know that. Is the one that was grinning when they were talking to him? Yeah, of course. That makes sense. Yeah.
But there were a couple of other quite interesting things about this that I learned, which I thought was quite funny, and also kind of slightly bittersweet as well.
All right.
So apparently Michael J. Fox kept fluffing his lines, especially in his scenes with John Aston.
Oh,
With
right.
the judge. Yeah, he kept calling him Doc.
No, I can see, because there was a similarity to the judge's character.
To the
and,
dynamic between them, yeah.
and the dynamic and the vocal, the way that Aston vocalised him. That's
Yes.
quite similar to Doc. I
Yeah.
can see. Yeah.
Yeah, but the other one is the shame, and apparently it was while filming this in New Zealand that Michael J. Fox realised that he missed his family so much when he's away on big film shoots. So decided he wanted to scale back his career and only take small screen stuff that meant he didn't have to leave home so much. And as a result, this is his last starring role in a movie.
Was it really?
Yeah.
I knew he'd stopped shortly afterwards, but I didn't realise this was the last one.
Yeah.
I mean, because I've seen a few of his things that he's done on the small screen, like in Scrubs and things like that.
Bink.
Oh, okay. I suppose that's how they say good morning in Cuckoo Town.
Pretty much. Bink.
But they were all small screen things. And
But yeah, this was his last starring role.
oh, really? Oh, that's a shame. I feel like he had a couple of years left in
Oh,
him.
absolutely. Absolutely. And again, if
You
this
know,
had done
before-
better, you could have done a sequel to this.
You could have. It would have been interesting.
Speaking of which, actually...
I don't think Peter Jackson does sequels, though.
No, he doesn't, no. Well, apart from Lord of the Rings, but that's different. I must admit, when we did this on the show, it was a bit chalk and cheese. One worked really well and one didn't work so well. This is one of those rare ones where I'd like a second crack at the whip. And I was thinking that when we've done it, obviously, as a crossover, we should do it as a mashup.
All right.
And I was thinking that you could do it literally as a sequel to this, where Lucy and Frank decide that after everything that's happened, they really need to let their hair down and get away for a bit. So they go on a romantic break to the Overlook Hotel.
Oh! Tell us what you think. We want to know.
If you would like to see us do that, then please do let us know.
That has potential.
It does, doesn't it?
It
Especially
does.
if there's a random snowstorm.
But anyway, we are definitely going on a tangent there. For
We
a
are,
second,
yes.
aren't we?
Yeah. As you can probably tell, certainly for me, this gets both of these.
Yep. Both of these. It's a great movie. It's worth a rewatch. It's got layers to it that
It
you
does.
appreciate on repeat viewings. You pick out more background details that just inform the film so much. It's worth rewatching multiple times.
Absolutely. And as you know, obviously, we are both huge fans of horror, which is why we're going to kind of be sticking with horror for a while, I think, we on here, unfortunately. But the only reason that is...
What do you mean, unfortunately?
Well, not unfortunately, sorry.
I was going to say, who?
Well, okay. Well, I was going to say the fortunate thing is,
Uh-huh.
see, when we are looking around for horror, we do what's best and we do what's right, because we do what you should do.
Shop smart. Shop S-smart. You got that?
Oh, yeah.
Until the next time, please do look after yourselves, look after one another, and take care.
As always, guys. CTFN.